Alrighty, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday morning and we are on week 3 of working with Gathering Together's suite of products by Stampin' Up. So welcome if you're new to my channel. You're either watching me on Facebook or YouTube, and I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Julie Brown. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm so happy that you're here with me. Now, the way this works is I do a free online class every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. You're welcome to craft along with me, which I would love. But I am going to pop up the card cuts here in just a second. I am working with the Gathering Together suite of products by Stampin' Up. And let me just kind of show you that's where we're at. So the September free class is all going to be based on this particular suite. Now, I do 4 cards free along with you, and then I actually design 8 cards. But if you guys would like the card kits, which means I'm going to be die cutting everything out for you, all of the pieces will be cut for you. The only thing you have to add is the stamping. But anyway, if you spend $40 with me this month, you'll get the card kits for this month. If you end up buying the suite this month, then you will get all 8 card kits, plus you'll get the PDF downloadable instructions for you to keep forever that you can use as sketches to work on other cards. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First, let me load. Here are the card cuts. So I'm going to, while I'm talking about a couple other things, I'm going to let you take a look at that. Sorry. So the suite that I'm working with today is the Gathering Together suite. Now, this suite is an online exclusive, so you're not going to see it. So if you have the mini catalog, the new mini catalog, it's not in that. It's actually an online exclusive. But within that suite is the Gathering Moments bundle, which is the stamp set and dies. And so I will be using all of the products from either that suite or that bundle today. Anyway, the pieces that you're going to need is a thick basic white. Now, again, guys, if you're working with your own stuff, you still want to cut everything the same, but you're going to use your own designer series paper. Sorry, I had to take a drink. My throat was getting scratchy. And then you'll also want to make sure that you're picking colors that you will be able to see. So if you guys are commenting, for some reason my live comments are still not showing up. It's getting quite frustrating. I'm trying to see if there's something something that I can click on here to make them work. I do not understand why they are not coming through. But go ahead and put your comments in, put your questions in. And I will look at it later and send replies to any of the comments or questions that are in. And I do apologize for that. But anyway, if you're working with your own stuff, then these are, you still want to do the same cut. So you still want to pick a designer series paper. You want to pick some cardstock that coordinates with your designer paper. And then obviously you will be using stamps that you have if you're not going to be using this suite of products. So I am using some leaf stamps today and some acorn stamps today. So anyway, you might want to just watch it through the first time, then pull it back up, grab these card cuts, get everything cut and ready to go, and then you can watch the replays and follow along. All right. So hopefully you can take a screenshot of that. It's been up. And so just want to make sure you guys are aware a new mini catalog just came out in September. If you do not have a demonstrator and you do not have one of these, please, again, you can type in the comments or you can, send me a message and I will get one out to you as quickly as possible. Okay, and then the last thing is how to contact me. So if you do decide you want to place an order, you can do it through juliebrown.stampinup.net. Now, in the description, I do have a link to the suite. So if you want to look at the suite, you can click on that link and it'll take you to my Stampin' Up site, and you can actually see all the pieces and parts that come in the suite. You can email me at juliescreativestampin@gmail.com. And then Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram. Obviously, if you're watching me on Facebook, you already know it's Julie's Creative Stamping. My YouTube channel is a little bit different. It's juliebrown.julie's Creative Stamping. And then please make sure you check out my blog. I have both information in there about card making, about stamping, and then I have just added a new junk journal section in there. So if you're curious about junk journals and you're not sure what they are, then pop on over to my blog and you can read all about it under my junk journal section. All righty. All right, so I say let's get busy. Okay, so today I'm going to be focusing on the embossing folder, the dies, and the stamp set. Now we are going to be pulling in some of the designer series paper because it's gorgeous, and so we're going to have to use that. But these are the main three things that I am going to be working with today. And so we're going to start with stamping. So I'm going to go over those sizes and just kind of show them to you one more time. Okay, so obviously you need a thick basic white card base. You're going to need one basic white that is 3 3/4 by 5. This is for the inside. And then we're going to need all these little white pieces, and I've given you the sizes. I think one is 1 1/4 by 3, and this one is 1 3/4 by 3, and this one is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then we're going to need a 2 by 3 of the early espresso. Now this is if you're using the same thing I'm using. If not, you're still going to need all these same sizes, just in whatever you're using. And then I picked this designer series paper. Look at that beautiful gold that's through that. I love this paper. And this piece is cut to 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then this is another one of the designer series paper. The back side looks like this. It's nice and shiny. And this is I believe this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I have 2 Cajun Craze pieces, one that is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go with this white piece on the inside. And then we have this piece, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to be using this to do some die cutting. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to set them over by my die cut section because we're going to be using them over there in just a hot second. And set this aside, but we're going to go ahead and do our stamping first. Alrighty. So on the bigger piece here, we're going to stamp the sentiment that says expressing heartfelt gratitude. And that is one of the stamps in the stamp set. We're going to ink that up with Cajun Craze ink. Wow, I have almost lost my voice. So let's ink that up. And then I don't have to be super careful with this one because I'm going to be fussy cutting this out. So there's that one. And what did I do with them? I literally just washed out and got, did I put them over here? Hold on, I'm trying to find my chamois. Hold on, I just washed them and brought them down here. Don't know where I set them. All right, sorry about that. I have no idea what I just did with those nice clean chamois, so I had to go grab one that's over on my junk journal where I'm working on some junk journals. So let me clean that off. And then on this one, we're going to, again, use Early Espresso ink, and we're going to stamp the large leaf. Now, I like these stamps and these leaves because they kind of have their own, when you stamp them, see how it kind of automatically puts the highlights and the lowlights in it. So that makes it kind of cool. I'm going to set that over by the die cut station because we're going to be die cutting that out. Okay, then we're going to bring in our little acorn And we're going to do, on this piece, we're going to do one of the acorns in Early Espresso. And then I'm going to clean that off because then we need to do one in Cajun Craze. So I hope everybody is having a good week. Oh, Flora, I can see you. Yay. I wasn't seeing any comments, but I see you, so yay. I'm glad that's working. All right. And then here's the next one, and this is Cajun Craze. So I'm glad you're here with me today. Okay, so again, we're stamping both of those. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside, so that way we can get all of our stamping done. So again, guys, if I try to go slow, but I know I am fast at doing things. But again, just remember, you can watch this and then you can go back and you can absolutely replay this and have all your stuff ready to go, because you kind of know what I'm doing after you've watched it. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece. This is the 3 3/4 by 5 that goes on the inside. So we're going to bring back in our, actually I think we're going to use the smaller leaf this time. And I am stamping off, and I don't have anything underneath this because I'm just going to wipe it off because I'm on my glass mat. And so I'm going to do stamp 1, and then I'm going to do what's called second generation stamping. And that means I stamp again before I re-ink, and you can see how that looks. So the cool thing about when you do second or third generation stamping, especially if you don't have, like, let's say you only have one brown, then when you do that second generation stamping, it makes it look like it's a lighter color. And so it kind of gives the illusion that you've used 2 different colors. So that's why I really love second generation stamping. So let me clean the, actually I'm just going to put this back here and make sure I don't get in that, because I need to do the inside sentiment. And the inside sentiment is, again, from the stamp set, and it says, "Your friendship means the world to me." Now I just looked at this and I didn't have it on there quite straight, so we're going to fix that really quick. I don't need to clean it yet. I need to ink it up. Oh my gosh. I hope it's not going to be that kind of morning all morning. All right, so let's, and again, you could be watching me on YouTube, or you could be watching me on Facebook, not sure, but the cut instructions should have been loaded, and you should, it's in the description, so you should be able to see that. Oh, this doesn't look quite straight. And I usually stamp my sentiment first because if I don't get it straight, we always have 2 options, right? We can flip it right back over and we can restamp on the other side if we don't get that straight. I got lucky and I got that straight today, so that makes me happy. Okay, so this is ready. Let me wipe this off before I forget, because I don't want to spend the time to do the die cutting and all that stuff and then plop it over here and mess it all up. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece, and then I've already moved the other leaf that over there, and so we're going to move over to the die cut station, and we are going to run some things through the die cut and the embossing folders. All right. Okay, so first I think we'll do the die cutting. I know, can you believe how nice and pretty these are? They're like clear. This is what they look like when you first get them. But of course, because of my class and how much I use them, mine get cut up really fast because of how often they're used in classes. All right, so I'm gonna try to cut these together. So we're going to grab that big leaf one, and we're going to stick that on here. And then we're just going to position it so that you can just barely see a slight edge. And sometimes this can take a little bit of patience, guys. I will say this. I know that sometimes when you're in classes, you tend to go fast and you get a little bit discouraged with, you know, die cutting because when you feel like someone else is waiting for the die cut, you tend to throw them down fast. But even if you're in a class, I know especially like if you're in one of my classes, take your time. Make sure that it's right and that it's going to, you know, look good for you. I just totally, I felt myself push that after I taped it down. So take your time to fit your dies properly and you're going to be way happier with your dies. All right, so we're going to go ahead and run that through. And even if you're following me along, you know, I know I'm live right now, but especially if you watch the replay and you're going to be using this suite and doing these die cuts, then again, you know, just make sure that you pause me if I've already got mine die cut and ready to go. Pause me and get yours die cut so that they come out looking really nice. All right, so let me see if I can fit, because we're gonna cut out this big one, and you'll notice there's an outside and an inside. Now if you just use the outside, you're just gonna get the leaf without all of the dotted details, but we're gonna do the whole thing together. And I'm just gonna move this off for just a second so I can get this one placed on here first. Okay, so what I do is I always lay this one down first and then I fit the other one inside. Now this takes a little bit of jigging because you want to make sure that you have the same amount of space around kind of all those edges. And then just as soon as you think you've got it, then something like what I just did where I pushed on the wrong thing, it can get messed up. So I'm going to tape that because I like that and put a little bit of tape there. And then I think I've left myself enough room to come in and cut this other acorn. I like to try to get as many cuts together as possible so that I'm not constantly, you know, I don't have to die cut a million times. So anytime I can fit more, you know, more of the things that I'm cutting out together, I will absolutely do that. All right. Here we go. And we're going to run that through. And then look how pretty that is. Look what we get when we do that. So we're going to just remove this. And then again, you guys will notice I'm real quick to always put these things back. Now these have these little tiny holes, and my suggestion is that you get into the habit of cleaning these out. I'm not going to go through all the steps right now, but I usually just take my take your pick tool, and all these little tiny holes, I want to make sure that I clean all of these out before I use this again so that it makes a good cut. Okay, and of course I'll do that later when I get all this put away. So again, I'm going to take my die and I may not get them all in perfect order, but I always put them back on my magnetic sheet. Now this magnetic sheet does not come with your dies. That is something that I make myself, and I use those, they're the vent covers, the magnetic vent covers that you can buy at Lowe's and Home Depot. And so I just cut them down to size and then I use those. That way I don't lose any dies. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to move those out of the way. And so I'm going to take my number 2 off and my number 3 off because we're going to be coming through with this embossing folder. Now, I believe this is the embossing folder. It doesn't actually say that it's 3D, but I tried to run it as not 3D. It's a 3D one. So you're going to use the same process as a 3D. And so if you guys aren't aware, if you look at your base here, the top one says use this pattern here if you're using thin dies, use this pattern here if you're using a standard embossing folder, and use this pattern here if you're doing a 3D. So this pattern says I need the number 1 base, and then I'm going to put the, so here's my piece of paper, and there's my embossing folder, which is this right here, and then I need this number 4 plate, which is this one right here. So remember, it does tell you how to do each of these. So if you're ever at home and you don't have your, your instructor or your teacher close to you, just read what you need. Again, this is for thin, this is anytime you're die cutting is this top section, and you need number 1, number 2, and then when you lay number 2 down, it still shows you what you need. And then when it says 3, it's pointing to 2 of them because that's the clear mats, and you need both of those for die cutting. Alrighty, so let's pull this out and meet me back at my desk. Alrighty, so now we are over here. So I do want to get this kind of close so you can see. Can you see how it put that embossing on there? So even though this was a designer series paper, I still wanted to use that embossing because it just gave it a little extra oomph. Okay, so that's all there was to getting all the pieces cut. The only other thing we're going to need to do is fussy cut this out. So let's get that done. And then we're going to be ready to put the card together. Cards don't have to be overly complicated to come out beautifully. I mean, I know there's, those of us that love what we call, or used to call, avid cards. And those are the cards that have all the bells and whistles, all the layers, all of everything. Now, I am kind of adding bells and whistles because I am bringing in a really fun trim. I am going to be using the dots that go with this suite. So to a certain extent, I am bringing in the bells and whistles. But, I just got to say, guys, anytime that you can get a set that has the dies that go along with it, that has the designer series paper that already coordinates with it, it's just, it just makes it easier for you. The more things that you can do for coordination ahead of time, the better off you are going to be as far as getting quick and easy cards done. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to, hopefully my liquid glue is going to work today because I've got stuff all over. I've got so many projects going right now. So Flora, if you're still here, I did my auction yesterday and you did win a few things. So hopefully you got information on that. All right, so I'm just going to put that on there, and then we're going to fussy cut around that again. Since you're on here, I thought I would let you know. So again, we're just fussy cutting, and fussy cutting simply means that you're just leaving a little bit of a border. So you're not cutting right up against something. So I'm not even sure who came up with the word fussy, but boy, it has carried through to all of us that are in the stamping world and the card making world. I'm not sure who first used it, but we all have taken on and continued whoever it was that first called it fussy cutting. So basically, like I said, it just means we're fussy cutting and we're getting, we're leaving a light outer edge around that. Okay, so are we ready to put the card together? So obviously this is my basic white piece. I'm going to fold that in half. So it's a 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So let me burnish these edges. And then I'm going to come in with my embossed piece. Now, a lot of times on the embossed pieces, I like to use liquid glue. But this one, because it had this gold filigree on the back, it kept this paper pretty strong. So I feel comfortable using my Stampin' Seal Plus on this. All right, so we're going to lay this piece down. And because it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, it's only going to leave a little bitty edge. And that was my intention. All right. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our designer series piece. Now this is a little bit, it's 1/8 of an inch smaller. So again, I want to leave a little bit of an edge all the way around when I'm laying this one down. So again, I'm using my Stampin' Sale Plus for this. And here we go. All right, so that's laying there like that. Then what we're going to do is bring in this real, isn't that just pretty? Look at that big old leaf. I love it. So this is going to come in next. I am going to use my liquid glue, and I want it to go across both pieces. That is the design that I have in my head for this. And you'll notice I am purposely missing all the dots because obviously if I put glue across those dots, it's going to come right out the front. We've learned that a lot in junk journaling when we sew on things and then we try to put glue over where we've sewn. The glue comes through the holes that the thread is in. All right, so that's going to fit just like that. And then I'm going to, I am missing, oh, there they are. It's like I was missing a couple pieces. Okay, so next we're going to bring in this leaf, and it's going to also be glued down flat. If my glue will work. And so this is going just like so. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is we had this, and I don't know if you guys can still get this or not, but this was, it's kind of like a mesh, but it's a gold mesh. And I want this to go across. Now, I'm probably going to be trimming some of this down. And I might actually even fold it in half. Maybe I'll do it this way. Will that be long enough, do I think? Maybe not. Maybe if I fold it in half. You know what? I think I'm going to go grab another piece. Hold on one second, because I want to double that up so that it has it. You can really see it well. This is what happens when you're designing. You start laying things down and you either like them or you don't. All right, let me bring you guys in just a little bit. Sorry. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple of glue dots to secure this in place. So let me grab my Take Your Pick tool. And then let me just kind of see. So I think I want it to be connected down here, because I want to be able to cover these glue dots with the sentiment that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and lay that, and believe it or not, I'm going to put some more glue dots because I'm using 2 layers, and because this is mesh, I'm going to add 2 more little glue dots here. Maybe if it comes off. All right, so here we go with that. We're going to lay another layer on there just to make it, you know, so that it stands out more is what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm just going to kind of leave that. And I didn't worry about getting it perfect on the edges because I know I'm going to be trimming some of this. Now what I want to do is I want to pop this up. So I'm going to bring in my dimensionals. And I'm just going to kind of put these strategically on the back so that everything kind of, especially I worry more about the end pieces. I want to make sure I have those supported well so that I get a nice balanced piece. Now I want to put a piece here and a piece here. These are a little big. So what I'm going to do is go to this side over here, and I'm going to cut 2 of these pieces like so. I hope everyone's having a good week this week. So I'm not sure if you're on live with me, Flora, or if you just popped that in on the show notes and it came up. But if you are, hopefully I'm not going too super fast for you. But again, like I said, guys, if I do go too fast, because my comments are kind of glitchy today, just watch the replay and then you can pause me when you need to pause me. Okay, so I want to make sure that especially the glue dots are covered. And then the only reason I only put 2 glue dots. Sorry, I've got to kind of pick this up to make sure I get this on here straight, is because I have those, the dimensionals on the back of this, and this is also going to help hold this in place. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, so next what we want to do is we want to take our 2 little acorns and we're going to overlap them. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here. And I'm just going to kind of overlap these a bit. And then we're going to, again, this is going to kind of go up here, but I also need to have some dimensionals down here. And so I think I want the skinny ones again. So let's trim those. That's the nice thing about our dimensional sheets, is that you can use every corner of these. And most of us that have been card making and stamping for a while do exactly that. We use every little tiny piece. I mean, I will hold on to a whole sheet of these if all I have is like this little section left, so that I can, you know, use it when I need to use it. And then I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue right here behind that. And then I'm going to position this so that it's up in this corner, but it doesn't really cover like a lot of the lettering. So I'm just going to hold that in place for a hot second. We've got our dimensionals there. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my snips and I'm going to trim this where I like it. And so this is going to be subjective to, you know, how much of this you want to see. And then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing and trim that. Now, of course, junk journalers, we keep all this stuff, right? I know some of you on here are in my junk journal class as well, so want to remind you. So now I was looking at all the shiny and I just kind of felt like the leaf and the acorns were a little flat. So I wanted to come in and I wanted to add some Wink of Stella. And so I am going to have to kind of lift this up. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to add some sparkle. And you'll notice when you do that with the Wink of Stella, it also kind of like moves your ink around a little bit. So be aware of that. It does kind of, because it re-wets the ink is what it does. All right. I'm cleaning this off to the side because I'm going to go down into this Cajun Craze one, and I don't want the early espresso ink on that. So I'm going to also do the Wink of Stella there. And then we're going to, I wiped off my brush over to the side on a scrap piece of paper. And then we're going to come in here. And I'll try to get this up to the camera so that you can see. It is a very subtle shine that Wink of Stella adds, but it does add a shine. So can you guys see that? I don't know if it's showing up at all. Let me see if I can get the leaf to show up. You know what? Let me turn a light this direction and see if that helps. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to catch the light. Ah. Can you see the shiny? Yeah, I don't think my lighting's quite right for that, but I can see it. And it just might be that you can't. All right, and then I'm going to come in with our, these, I love these dots. I don't know if you guys can, let me get them close up. Can you see they've got some gold flecking in the middle of them? They're super pretty. Super pretty. So we're going to grab some of these. Guess I'll grab this one since it's already coming off. It says, hey, pick me. And I'm just going to put one down here in this corner. And then I'm going to get a medium one and put it right there. And I'm going to take my little tiny one, and that's going to make my little triangle down here. All right, and then all we have left to do is put the inside in. So here we go for the inside of the card. And here we go. Sorry, I'm just taking some time to make sure I get that straight. And I think that's where most of us mess up when we're making our cards. And I'm going to say, especially when we're in a card class, we tend to want to go fast. And that is something that will kind of mess you up every time that you do that. So always take your time. Make sure you get it to where you like it and you're happy with it. All right, and there we go, guys. Card 3. Look at that. What do you guys think? Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. All right, so that is card number 3. I'm going to remind you of cards 1 and 2, which I've already done. So if you've missed these 2 videos, you'll want to go back and watch them. So this was my card 1, which I ended up doing in my card class. This was card 3. Or 2, and then this is card 3. So these are the 3 that I've already made using that suite. Now for this one, I did bring in the branching out suite because I wanted to use the dies and I wanted to do a happy birthday card. So remember that, let's say you love this card, but you don't really want to do a gratitude, you need a birthday. Change your sentiments up, change it up, make it to be what you like. So there is week 1, week 2, and week 3 so far. And remember, I'm going to put this back up here so you know these classes are absolutely free. But if you do place a $40 order, you will get these card kits, and everything that I have die cut out will be die cut out for you, except of course this last card with the acorns and the leaf. You may be using something different, so you'll want to die cut that out, but you will get the large leaf die cut out. And then if you do order the suite through me this month, then you will get the extra 4 cards that I do, plus you'll get the PDF instructions for all of these. Alrighty, and I'm going to put this up one more time, take a screenshot of that. That is the card cuts. And then if you want to take a look at the suite, there is a link in the description for you to do that. And there we are, guys. I think we are done. So as you can see, these cards don't take very long. These cards are literally, I mean, I come on at 10, I talk a little bit at the beginning, and it is 10:39, and we are done with that card. So I really wanted to focus on quick and easy cards this month. Just to show you that you can make beautiful cards and still make, pop them out quick and easy. So for those of you that were with me today, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here. If you did put in a comment and I didn't acknowledge you, it's because it's still freaking out a little bit. So not sure what it's doing. I know I'm not seeing, I don't believe I'm seeing, I'm not sure if you guys are watching me on YouTube or on Facebook. Usually Facebook comes up as blue, like your name is in blue, and then YouTube comes up in red. So I'm not seeing any YouTube right now. So if you guys have been putting in comments, I will make sure I check those later. Anyway, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Next week, I'm either going to pre-record it or I'll be recording from my mother's house because I will be down there. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I will be talking to you soon.